It's been a minute since I have done a video. If you are on this channel and seeing some changes being made, it's by design. I've actually decided to move away from the relationship advice and dating advice and all of that material. Essentially, it's a mixture of red pill content, right, and also just the manosphere space. We clearly know that there's a lot of influences out there on YouTube saying the same thing in a different way. What I found myself and why I'm actually moving away from those discussions and those topics is not for any other reason than the fact that I just came to a realization that the more I started talking about the modern day times and the modern day woman and the modern issues that we're facing with the news, the propaganda, there's so much going on. It became very toxic for me, and it, in one sense, it was very therapeutic for me, but on the other hand, it was making me angrier by the minute, and also I wouldn't even say rage. Just there's this your energy changes the more you dwell on those topics, the more you talk about it, and I realize that every single day when I turn on YouTube, there's so much content out there now, the market, and this discussion here about men's dating lives and their relationships and the loneliness and all that epidemic, whatnot. It started to wear on me, and I realized that even though I'm an older man living a younger man's life, it was in my best interest at this time to kind of step away and go back to my roots on why I initially started my channel. And so what's happening right now as we speak is that I'm in the corporate world. I'm back to work. I'm in the financial services industry. I'm also client facing as well, right? And I work for corporate America, and I'm actually now really enjoying my job. And with that comes, I have a VP title, a VP role, portfolio management, essentially on, business customers, enterprise customers, and dealing with customers and my peers and different levels of management in different hierarchies within the organization, right? And so with that comes exposure and awareness, and your personal life sort of pushes itself forward into the corporate life, right? So because these topics are so controversial, my intuition right from day one was eating at me to, it's at some point I would have to have a judgment call and a decision, right, at my discretion to make those videos private. So the good news here is that those videos that I have made over the past 1 year, talking about relationships and what got me, to 700 plus subscribers or whatnot, those videos are on private. I have not deleted them. I've just made it on private. And at some point, let's just say I win the lottery and things take up, I'm going to make those public again. But the net of all of this is that it was time for me to make that intelligent decision to make those videos on private, so that the public nature, the raw discussion points in all of that, is now sort of, I control that narrative, and my work doesn't necessarily have to view that, because you could have a spotlight on you in that sense that doesn't pay your bills. And right now, those topics are not paying my bills. I'm making a really good salary with incentives and a commission structure that all encompassing pushes me over the 200,000 per year mark. That's the caliber. That's where I sit at on the salary totem pole, right? So you've seen my journey. If you've been here from day one, you've kind of seen my progression and growth as a content creator, and you've seen me quit my 9-to-5 corporate remote job, the tech industry I was in for over 2 years, working for this company. We all know it, Zell. I was working for Zell for the longest time. That felt like a really long time, but 2.5 years or so. And it was after that I decided to go all in on YouTube, completely just, this tunnel vision is so focused on what I wanted to do, and thinking that I would be monetized after 1 year. but that's not the case, and it just doesn't work that way. In fact, life is push and pull. The more you really try to force an outcome, you're not going to get the outcome, right? It takes time. And here I am. Uh, I think I would be remiss to not share this critical part of the journey. Is despite all these walks that I've done, I've improved my health. Of course, the walks are monumental for your health, right? Walking is why I started this channel. But all those content that I have done over time, it hasn't gone to a waste, is what I'm saying. Is that because it taught me something, and it's teaching me right at this very second. Like, I could have given up on YouTube right this very minute when I made all those videos private, but I decided to pivot because that's the essence of life. Is you need to know when to change your trajectory and make a definitive decision when it comes to your health, when it comes to starting your channel, when it comes to making a decision. And sometimes you have to lose it all to gain it back again, if that makes sense. So in the context of this channel, and how this correlates to what I'm talking about, is like, I haven't lost anything by making those videos private. I've just now also have a peace of mind in the sense that I don't have to worry going to bed every single night and thinking about, hey man, I made this controversial videos about, these are my thoughts on modern day women, this is why I think where we are, and men are this, women are that. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to accusation, right? And they're going to throw words around like misogyny and all of that stuff, when a lot of people don't know what that actually means. But there's an attack, obviously there's an attack and an agenda on men, right? It's not a secret anymore, everyone's talking about it. But it was time for me to move away from that topic. I think life experiences for me on a day-to-day has more to do with training, right? Training, stretching, fighting through injuries, the wear and tear on your body, right? The mental health aspect of it, right? So just last Friday, I went to a client meeting, and as I was getting coffee, right, I was in a suit, really fitted, and your hard work definition, your physique shows in certain clothing and attire. And this couple came up to me and just said, we want to take a picture with you because, one, you look like a celebrity, and second, you look like Andrew Tate. And these guys were big fans of Andrew Tate. And when I started talking, they said, you even sound like him. I was like, yeah, he's my long lost brother. We started laughing, and then he said, I want to take a picture and a video. Just say something, right? And I just said something along the lines of, you have no idea how much I paid for this 250 million Bugatti, right? So something along those lines. It came out way more naturally for me. And then they really appreciated it, picture moment. And then they got what they wanted, and they shook hands, and we're on their merry little way. And meantime, everyone in the coffee shop is looking at me like, who is this guy, right? So they had that, for a second there, I had that halo effect. And it spoke to my inner voice, my inner dialogue, my intuition that said, hey man, this is probably a good time for you to switch and pivot, because you've been feeling a certain way, and your videos are public, and anywhere in corporate America, they can pick up your video and flag it, right? And so all of a sudden, all the relationships that I've built at work, they're good people, very traditional people, right? And if this has more to do with, yeah, I care what they think, but at the same time, I don't care what they think. But this, for me, was a smart thing to do, is because technically they can make a case for me to get fired, right? And I'm doing decent at work, but still, this from that standpoint, before anyone found that I had to make a conscious effort and decision to move away from these topics and go back to fitness, go back to training, and more of just these peaceful walks, these types of discussions, sharing about family, sharing about life in general. And life's a lot more than intimate relationships, although I understand that that's a big piece of who we are, because we share our lives with our significant other or others. And in some cases, most men have checked out of relationships, dating for the most part, right? And I'm not trying to go there. It's just, it's hard to not go there at the same time is because you just don't get to pushing that 50 mark and not being able to share all those relationship stories and experiences. But that's just part of life, right? That's who you are at this stage in your life. But I thought I kind of reached a point where, hey, I'm going to move on and go back to why I started this channel, my mission, and what drives me. And so what I may start doing is slowly start bringing in my day-to-day routines by way of running, sprinting. I have some minor joint ticks and icks, nicks and tucks that have started showing up is because I've done a lot of combat sports over my years of time, including dance, martial arts, obviously soccer, right? So these things are now, all the stretching routines that I have done incorporated in my life will start showing its card, right? These stretching routines are now going to start helping me recover, and this becomes more of a lifestyle that I just never stop living, and I continue doing so. But the only reason why I switched to relationships and dating advice is because I saw subscribers, and it just seems like that's what people wanted to hear. But I may lose subscribers, and I'm okay with that. I may lose subscribers, and I'm okay with that because you are not for everyone, and everyone, it doesn't have to be consuming you, and they may not like you, which is okay because you don't want to be liked by everyone. So this was a relatively short video, folks, just to kind of say that, hey, I'm moving away from that relationship dating advice, trying to be one of those, peeps, and there's nothing wrong with that. I will make the video public someday, but for now, these are private videos, and it's a judgment call, and it's focusing on my faceless YouTube channels that are monetized, and then, of course, my 9 to 5, which is paying the big bucks, right? So I can drive fancy cars. And lastly, I will probably start doing a lot more of my AMG C63S videos, 2015 edition 1. So stay tuned for that, folks. Really good to be back. Until the next video, Mamba out.